guys, and welcome back to a new series. So welcome back to the SomaCoach Podcast. So today I have got Tim here with me and we're going to be discussing some veganism topics. So things about my journey to veganism, why Tim isn't vegan, and just some little tests and kind of what we've been through, figuring out like how it is to eat out in the UK, what it was like in comparison to when we lived in Australia, and yeah, if there's been any changes being vegan, how we felt mentally, physically, everything like that. We're going to be delving into that. So if you are vegan or you're interested in veganism, this might be an interesting podcast for you. Or if you're on the flip side and you're a partner of somebody that is vegan, you'll be hearing Tim's perspective from this podcast. But yeah, if you do enjoy this and you want to see more in the series, we've got plenty of topics that we can chit chat all day about. So do hit that like button and of course subscribe if you are new to the channel. And yeah, we'll get into the video. Let's get chatting. So it's going to be a very nice chilled podcast today. I've got my cup of decaf coffee. And I have some Diet Coke. Great, good start. Motorbike's just gone by. Okay, so first thing we're going to get into is talking a little bit about why I first became vegan. So I was vegetarian for 6 or so years from when I was a teen, and then as I left school I then went back to eating meat for a year for the first year of uni, and then I went back to being a vegetarian again. So yeah, I kind of went through a phase of being a vegetarian and then being an athlete and a swimmer, and then finding a bit struggles as I was growing up as well with hormonal changes. I found it hard to make sure that I was maintaining a healthy diet. As an athlete, it was really, really crucial. Obviously, my nutrition was super important for my performance in the pool, but I did find this was a little bit hard to find that nice balance. So I did end up going back to eating meat for a little bit, but then became vegetarian again. And then just before I met Tim, which will be nearly 3 years ago now, I became vegan. So I was kind of like, I'm just going to do it as a test for myself. I've been vegetarian for so long. I want to see if I can cut out cheese. I love cheese, by the way, especially blue cheese. I was like, oh, not bad. I can't think of anything worse than blue cheese. And so because I was like, I'm just going to try it out, see what it does for my skin, see what it does for like just my whole well-being and kind of energy levels. So I just thought I'd do a little test for myself, see how long I'll last, and we're still here today, 3 years on. Was it hard to change? I think not for me, but I think for some people, if you're cutting out obviously a big amount of food groups, it might be quite difficult. But for me, going from vegetarian to vegan was quite a nice easy transition, and I think the only things I first struggled with at the start was like finding cheeses. Milks was easy, there's so many plant milks out there, but cheeses, I don't know, especially it wasn't my blue cheese. There was no blue cheese in those supermarkets in Australia, I can tell you that. For takeaway as well would have been a bit harder, was it? Yeah, I think it was just like finding the right places around Perth, where I lived at the time, Perth, Australia. It was just finding the right places and being like, okay, I know I can get there, or taking apart a menu and being like, okay, I'll get that. I know they've got that on the menu, so I can kind of make together some kind of meal. But I think, yeah, it was just kind of finding where suited my new like nutritional needs, and then it was all right, to be honest. And we did find some favorite restaurants over there, like Sombreros, love good Mexican burrito bowl, grilled burger. The burger place, grilled, were good. Yeah, so yeah, there was definitely options over there, and we just got used to going to those places. And then, to be honest, I started to like join Facebook groups and things, and then find other vegan restaurants around the Perth area. And I was like, oh, this is fun, let's go try out these places and explore around that area of the city. So yeah, I think it really wasn't that bad. But for me personally, it was a kind of smooth transition. It wasn't a big jump going from eating meat all the time every day to then cutting out all animal products. Whereas that will swiftly move on to Tim. Yeah. So what did you eat before you met me? I honestly just met. I ate a lot of really just chicken wraps for heaps of kind of meals, but it wasn't like a lot of veg in them or a lot of like lettuce or anything like that. It was mainly just like chicken, and I don't know, just I didn't really think too much about what I ate before I met you. Yeah, if that makes sense. Like I don't even remember what I used to eat, to be honest.
I think you just ate whatever was there.
Like you weren't like...
I was out a lot as well, so I'd go, all right, I'll go get some Subway, or I'll get some Nando's, whatever. Like I'll just kind of grab something before I headed home or whatever, and it was just kind of what I ate.
Convenience.
Yeah. So, or whatever my parents cooked me, which...
Yes, you weren't really into cooking before you met me, is that right?
No. I didn't... No. I still don't know a lot about food cooking in general, but I know a lot more now than I did before. Yeah. Way more. So, but it's not like I'm not vegan because it's more of a discipline kind of thing. Like I find it very hard to cut things out and stick to it. Yeah. Say energy drinks, Monster. I could go a day or two without one, and then I crave it, and I go back. Like I don't know if it's more of a habit kind of thing that I'm in or whatever it is, but I just find it very hard to cut stuff out. So I think I could be vegan to an extent, but...
To an extent. Is that a yes or no?
Well, I think I could do it if I really wanted to, but my beliefs aren't as strong as yours kind of thing. So it's, it's just kind of that, but you're still with me, luckily, so...
I mean, I didn't necessarily go vegan because of the animal cruelty. That's not how it started off. It's generally, I didn't actually like the taste of meat. So that kind of started off for me becoming vegetarian. And then from there, what sparked me wanting to be vegan was, is that going to boost my energy levels? Can I kind of sustain a healthy diet as well as like doing a lot of exercise and sport on a vegan diet? And it was kind of just an experiment for myself and my body and see how my skin reacted. Like, there's a lot of different factors, but it was never really initially about like the animal cruelty side of it and environmental factors. That wasn't anything that spurred me on to do it, but that's something as over time, as I've been vegan for longer now, that's something that, you know, like that's definitely a reason that I'm still vegan today. And I would never go back to eating meat or any animal product again, purely for the fact that now I just know so much about the industry that I wouldn't ever go back to eating any milk or any kind of dairy or even meat for that fact.
I mean, personally, I never really ate a lot of meat anyway. It was mainly chicken, obviously a lot of chicken, but in terms of like red meats, like all of those, I never really ate much of that anyway. So I think turning vegan, cutting out meat wouldn't be hard for me, I don't believe, because there's so many different options in the supermarkets now that are very similar to, say, chicken, little chicken bites or burgers and stuff. So I don't think I would find that hard. I just find I wouldn't be disciplined enough reading packaging. I'll just grab it and just walk out. I'm not kind of gonna... I don't like reading, so...
But saying that, I don't know what it's like from wherever country you're watching this, but for us in the UK, they're really, really good at labelling foods now. A lot of foods just say vegan, so half the time you don't even have to read the ingredients. Whereas, flashback to 2 years ago, back in Australia, I was reading a hell of a lot of ingredients on the back of packaging. Yeah. Nowhere near as much was labelled, not as clear.
Food shops are a lot quicker here.
And also just a lot more choice here. I would say in the comparison... When we were in Australia, I don't know if it's just because over the last 2 years veganism has become more popular, kind of a trend, but it was definitely really, there's so many new products out constantly. Like I go to the supermarket and I'm like, oh my god, a new product. Like nearly like every couple of weeks there's a new product in that I've never seen before.
And they definitely do a good job of packaging it so you want it as well. Yeah. It's the packaging.
I'm drawn in, sucked into the new vegan products. Yeah. I'm their ideal clientele. But yeah, so I think, what did you know about veganism before you met me? Did you know anyone that's
vegan?
Pretty much
nothing. I knew what vegetarian was.
Yeah.
But I didn't know what vegan was. I didn't know what pescatarian was. I didn't know any of those. And then kind of when I met you, you're like, I think it was when you said, I'm thinking of becoming vegan to see how it goes. I was like, what the hell is that? So I like searched it before I messaged back. So basically I knew nothing, absolutely nothing. But I'd never really thought about that kind of like dietary requirements or choices that people would make.
I guess you just hadn't thought about what's been on your plate. for
No,
30
definitely
years.
not. No.
You just thought it's just food.
It's
It's what
yeah.
you eat. It's what you know. You didn't ever
Yeah.
question it.
No.
Whereas when I was 14, I would question. I don't like the mince on my plate. I just questioned what was on my plate. I think I don't know. I just thought.
Which there would be a lot of people in the position that I was in, or even older than I am or was.
Yeah.
That would be the same. They just eat it because it's there, and that's what they've eaten their whole life. But they've never actually thought about. Yeah. So, but I don't really understand why, like, you would call like vegan foods. You've got your foods in the shopping in supermarkets, but they call it like vegan chicken.
Mm-hmm.
But like, if you believe that you shouldn't be eating chicken, why do you need to name it chicken? That's like, or like sausages. I don't know. Like, that doesn't really.
So there's
mean
currently
much, but, like,
in the media, this has been highlighted a few times in the media, is that they're wanting to bring in EU legislation that vegan products cannot label their food products under like a meat title. For example, a vegan sausage shouldn't be able to be called a vegan sausage because that's then. It's got sausage in the name, which is therefore relating back to being a meat sausage. So they should have their own name for it if they are a vegan product. So therefore, they're saying, in these news articles, they are saying that vegan sausages should be called vegan tubes. And that just, I mean, I understand it to a certain extent because it's a vegan product. If someone's vegan, why are they wanting to buy something that's labelled as a meat product? Like, by its title. But at the end of the day, a lot of people that are buying meat and buying vegan products aren't always vegan. These people, they're seeing that and they're going, oh, well, why don't we try the vegan sausages this week? They might be on offer, for example. They might be on a promotion. They might be on the end of an aisle. Someone's just picked it up, grabbed it. It's got a yellow ticket on it. You don't know. But they're just saying vegan sausages. They just might grab it. Even if it's by accident, people grab it and chuck it in their shopping basket. Before you know it, that family's then buying those vegan Richmond sausages for the next year. But they wouldn't necessarily jump for that and pick that up if it said vegan tubes. So labelling it vegan sausages is then a lot more enticing for that consumer because it's something they know. It's ringing alarm bells in their head going, okay, we know we have vegan sausage pasta. We can have the sausage pasta with these sausages rather than the meat sausages.
Is that why they've brought in that legislation then? Because the meat industry are saying that you're stealing our non-vegan consumers now.
There's a lot of conflict right now within the meat industry, especially actually within dairy farmers. So because I don't know what it is, but over this year, especially 2020, the amount of people that have now changed to having alternate milks, for example, oat milk, almond milk, soy milk, etc., is crazy.
Don't tell me they're not allowed to name it milk now.
No, they are. So the demand for dairy milk is a lot lower than it has ever has been in 2020. I don't know what spurred people on to start having almond milk, etc., but again, a lot of people are having alternate milks in their coffees, teas, cereals, whatever it is. But because of that, I think there's a little bit of a conflict there between dairy farmers and the meat industry in comparison to like plant-based milk companies, for example. So there's a bit of a conflict there. So this might be to do with all of this, and that's why they're bringing in EU legislation. I'm not sure, but some of the names are absolutely hilarious. So vegan burgers, because burgers, again, that's got the connotation that it's meat, so they're calling them vegan discs.
Why can't they call it like patty?
I know, I said that.
A vegan patty.
Yeah, that would be a little bit more, like, surely someone's more likely to pick that up, whereas like a disc is like,
you think it's something you play with, like a frisbee or something.
Exactly, it's not linked to food. In someone's head, they're not thinking, oh, yummy dinner. They're thinking, what? Like, I don't think that sounds good. That's why that's still on the shelf. Do you know what I mean? Like, I wouldn't be surprised if sales went down if they started making Linda McCartney burgers, but instead of calling Linda McCartney burgers, Linda McCartney discs. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, it's just doesn't sound as good, does it?
No, definitely not.
Yeah?
No. What would you, what tips would you have for somebody wanting to be, like, to become vegan?
I honestly think slow transition. I mean, I know some people say just go cold turkey. Probably a bad saying to use. But I think...
Cold disc.
I think the best thing is to just honestly slowly transition in. So for example, if you start by just introducing plant-based milks, and then you start introducing some vegan sausages rather than your meat sausages, and slowly bring in those kind
swapping certain things out, but not all at once.
So kind of swapping in alternatives. So what I think a lot of people make the mistake is they go, oh my gosh, I could never go vegan. But then what they're imagining in their head is they're imagining having oats and quinoa and tofu and all of the things that I love. But they're thinking like straight off the bat, they've just got to change their diet completely. And everybody knows crash diets and really extreme dieting and changing your whole lifestyle and diet around food just isn't sustainable. So the same way with vegan eating, if you're just to go from, you know, eating like a normal person, having a chicken burger, and then for dinner you're having, I don't know, fish and chips, that you can still do that on a vegan diet. You just got to buy the chicken breast, you know, still have the same meal, but just swap out that meat for a meat-free alternative. Because I think having the mock meats is a amazing thing that they have in supermarkets now, especially for early transitioning vegans. It sounds like vampires or something.
Well,
like transitioning to vampires.
Generally that's what's in our fridge or freezer as well.
Yeah, because that's what you jump for, is what you'd get if you didn't want to cook.
Yeah,
you would have one of those, so they're great.
And it's not foods. Like I don't go out and buy generally anymore, I don't go buy a chicken burger.
No.
I'll buy the vegan discs. Maybe in the future, vegan.
We'll use the term
spicy bean burgers or something like that. Yeah. That's what I'll get, and that to me, I don't find I'm missing out on anything either.
Yeah.
Like I feel like the taste is just as good, if not better.
That's it. I think it's just finding what works for you, and it's not about, oh well, this person went vegan and this is how they did it, I need to do it exactly the way they did it. No, if it takes you a couple of months, even 6 months, to fully transition into a plant-based vegan diet, then that's fine. I mean, I think everybody's interpretation of a vegan is totally different. There's plant-based, which means that then they're not taking into account like necessary, like toiletries, for example. If you're plant-based, that's just how you eat. You're not taking into account like vegan in every aspect of your life, like cruelty-free laundry detergent or cruelty-free toiletries, for example. You're just about your diet purely. But then there's also whole foods vegan diets. So that includes, like, you wouldn't eat, for example, the processed or the mock meats. You would just eat all from whole foods. For example, eat quinoa, rice. You would eat all the fruits and vegetables. You'd be very high in fiber. You wouldn't be implementing parts of your diet from like highly processed foods that are like, for example, like your mock meats, your burgers, those kind of things. So there's lots of different kind of vegan diets, but then you can, of course, you can be a vegan diet and have a lot of junk food. We love our pizza or donuts or, you know, you can still have all of that in your diet. So it's not about you now need to just go completely clean and you have to eat super healthy and all you can eat is like fruits and vegetables and quinoa. I keep picking on quinoa. I'm not really sure why.
But that's what I think people get it very wrong as well. People just assume that they can't like go out and like get a pizza from Pizza Hut or get something, and that's like where I think some people would be kind of scared to even bring up that they're vegan, like as well. Like, what would you? Are you happy to go to somebody? I'm vegan. If
I think,
do you bring it up in conversation, or is it only if food is the topic of conversation?
I've talked to like colleagues about this before, and like I think it's one of those things is like people have this kind of viewpoint that vegans go around being like, I'm vegan. Hello, welcome, I'm vegan. Hi, nice to meet you, vegan. Like, no. Like, if somebody brings it up, or like if I'm at work and I'm cooking something and I'm making something and I'm explaining like, oh, I'm having like bolognese.
What's in
They're like, what's in that? I'm like, oh, it's like vegan mince. And they're like, oh, are you vegan? Then of course I'd leave into that conversation. But I'm not then going to just go a whole vegan on them and like start, I don't know, like I'm just, I would like, if it was brought up into conversation, yes, but I wouldn't necessarily just like straight away off the bat when I meet someone, like just tell them that I'm vegan, because it doesn't really matter unless we needed to tell them because we were going out for lunch or something. But a lot of the time, no, like I've never found it hard to mention it to someone, but I do sometimes think like, are they gonna just be like, is their judgment going to be...
Here we go. Another one.
Another one.
Yeah.
Another one.
Another one. Yeah.
Is their judgment going to be, oh, right, like, so what do you eat then? Or like, oh, where'd you get your protein from? Or like, I have had comments like that before, and it does sound crazy to a lot of people probably, because you wouldn't prejudge someone else's diet. I would never be like, oh, so what do you eat then, Tim? You know, but some people do have that kind of idea, especially people that are maybe aren't open to new kind of food sources that are
I guess it's also because you label it something as well, like it's vegan, so everyone just like it has their idea of what that is in their head, whether it's good or bad.
Yeah.
But if it wasn't, I don't know, if it wasn't named vegan, do you think so many people would turn up their nose about certain things? Like, oh,
I just think that's because of the
roll.
media. That's just because of the media that's been made out to this big thing that all these vegans are all hippies and, you know, like all they eat is like hemp seed. Like, no, like it's just the media and how it's been portrayed. But over time, it's now kind of become fashionable to be vegan. Hence why there's a lot more people that are now having alternate milks in their coffees, etc.
I think,
but there is so
taste
many
bad,
names.
Though. Like it tastes better in some instances.
Yeah.
So it's not like.
There's so many names, like not just vegan though, like some people call them like flexitarian, which effectively just means like they eat what they want when they want. But people actually label themselves as that, which I think is even more silly than calling yourself vegan, because it's like, well, then you're just a normal person who chooses what to eat when they want.
So that's what I would be then.
You'd be flexitarian, yeah.
I'd be confused.
You're pretty
one confused.
You're pretty much just confused, but you want to label yourself as something.
Yeah.
Put yourself in a bracket.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's pretty much sum up is I wouldn't openly literally tell someone straight off the bat, but if they wanted to chat about it, some people are interested, some people are like, how do you even do that?
So
and like obviously I'll open up and share my opinions, because if that's me sharing my opinion, then they might be like, oh, I'm going to try that food.
I think that's why that veganuary is so good as well, because it's so many people that'll go, I might just try it out, and then they find out that they can experiment with cooking as well. They can enjoy cooking, or they realize that it's actually not that bad, and it like certain vegan dishes taste just as good, if not better. Yeah,
veganuary is amazing for that, and just people that would never think to try it, but they're like, well, I'll try it for 4 weeks, like, just see how I feel. And for me, after 2 weeks, my energy levels were amazing. I had so much energy. I felt amazing, like, and that was me going from a vegetarian diet. So if me from a meat diet straight to being a vegan just for January, the results would have been amazing. Like I honestly felt so good. Like that was one of the main first like effects of being vegan was just my energy levels. I felt like I don't know, I didn't feel sluggish. Which could have been a lot of factors, but I just felt good in that moment in time, and obviously I was going to carry it on. But yeah, I think veganuary is amazing for that. And like, you know, someone from your basketball team, don't you, that he's done veganuary, and like the chances are as well, if people have been buying food for that month of January, they've got into a routine of what they buy for their weekly shops. They know what things to buy, they know what things work for them in their weekly meals around their schedule. Therefore, some of those, if not all of them, like the chances are probably not that many people actually then go to be a full-time vegan, sort of job role. 24 hours a week. Like a full-time for the rest of their life vegan, but a lot of them might take some of those products just filtered through and then they keep buying them, and then like again that's obviously fueling that industry, keeping that industry alive, keeping these plant-based companies still thriving and being able to bring out more products, which obviously is why to this day we keep getting more and more products, because there's more and more impulse for it. Like there's more and more need for these companies to bring it out. There must be demand. Otherwise we wouldn't be doing it. A lot of people, misconception maybe, is that vegan diet, you don't get much protein in your diet. And like a lot of people like ask you like crave meat, do you miss meat, those kind of things. Do you miss meat? I know you still have sometimes, but do you, because when we're eating at home at the moment we're eating a lot here, obviously, so you're not eating as much meat out. Do you miss meat when, like, do you think, oh, I would have just preferred this to be meat, or?
I honestly wouldn't notice a difference. I think generally there's people that eat meat, for, like, this is my view on it, there's people that eat meat just because it's generally in everything. Like there's chicken wraps that you buy out or whatever, chicken burgers, pizzas have pepperoni on them. But then there's people that love steak. Because I feel like people that love steak are generally the ones that love meat. Yeah. That's what I've noticed. But like for me, if I'm having the vegan sausages, the vegan burgers, anything like that, I'm not going to feel like I'm missing out on meat. Like I'm not even going to notice it.
You get like those amazing squeaky bean like chicken bits, like the chicken tikka bits. Yeah. And they taste so good. Yeah. Like so and you can buy them and just put them in a sandwich. Like it's easy, quick on the go food. Bear in mind it's probably not as cheap as the meat alternative, but there is quick, easy alternatives out there for pretty much every form of meat you could think of, whether it's like a sandwich kind of meat or it's a cooking burger meat or it's
I love everything. A pepperoni pizza, and what we've been getting, is it Quorn? Is that the brand of the pepperoni? Yeah. Yeah, so Quorn do a vegan pepperoni, and I've been buying that, and then I'll kind of make a mini like vegan like pizza, like a pizza, like on a pizza with a pizza. On a pizza with a pizza and the pepper. Honestly, like I wouldn't notice much difference between the vegan pepperoni and the normal pepperoni. You would notice it, but it tastes just as good.
Yeah. And super easy as well, like you said, like it's a super easy, quick meal. So I think a lot of people think like you have to have a cooking background or you have to, how to make food and
just make easy stuff like I do.
There's so much easy food you can make. But don't get me wrong, I do love playing around with the spices, and that was one thing at the very, very start as well. Was I really experimented with food more than I have ever done before, and found new foods and new flavors that I liked. Because, like everything, everyone always says, but tofu doesn't have any flavour. Does chicken?
No. Chicken? Yeah, that's something that I've said to people. It's honestly, chicken doesn't really have flavour. It's seasoned
when you have it in your burger. Yeah. Season the tofu. Ta-da! Yeah. Magical. But yeah, I've never craved meat over the whole time I was vegetarian and vegan. I've never had like a craving where like, oh my gosh, I really need this. I used to, when I was vegetarian, sometimes eat fish. But I don't even miss that anymore. I can honestly say I've never been vegan and thought, oh, I just love chicken burger or I don't know. But as I said, for me it was because of the taste of the meat, so that kind of cravings there with the taste side of it is not going to be a thing because I didn't enjoy that in the first place.
Did you get turned off of meat by was it steak? Because I can understand being turned off meat when there's like that blood.
It was
the blood taste or something like that. Whereas chicken, I don't feel like
a lot of it was red meat. So I think like the amount I was having like red meat, like mince, for example, the look of mince as well, like before it's cooked and after, I just didn't like that, the texture and the taste altogether. I think I didn't have steak that often, but I never enjoyed it. I just didn't. I don't know. Yeah, I've never enjoyed it right with me.
My dad loves it. But I think he's tried to get me to like it, but
but
it's just not.
Even just chicken, I just was never like, oh wow, like I don't know, it just wasn't really something that I felt like I needed in my diet. And also moving on to that was I've never like being an athlete, swimmer, and then struggling with my diet then to now obviously doing my personal training qualification and a little bit of nutrition side of stuff. I understand a little bit more about what fuels my body and what works for me. Everybody's different, of course. But understanding about what I can eat and what makes me keep my energy levels up. So I know kind of how much protein I want to get in a day. And if I ever am like lacking in a day, I do have protein powder that I do use, which is just like bulk powders or my protein, and I just use like the chocolate or vanilla, and sometimes I just have a shake after a workout, and that's pretty much like my only supplement that I take currently, and I'll only have like a couple of shakes a week, but other than that I just try and get it all from my food, and it's actually really not that hard to get the amount of protein that I want to get for my goals. And yeah, I don't really struggle. I don't think it really is any harder as a vegan. People say, well, you'd have to eat so much more, but there's actually a lot of protein in a lot of beans and pulses and oats and just in a lot of whole foods, there is a lot of protein. And once you add all up, it's really not too bad. And yeah, so I think as well, like there's a lot of vegan protein powders out there as well now to choose from. So they've got like 22 plus grams of protein in one scoop. So for me, I don't struggle to find enough protein in my diet. I don't eat like excessive amount of protein every day. I'm not like bulking or like a bodybuilder or something. So maybe if you were like a performance athlete in those senses and you were really trying to bulk up and get a lot of protein in your diet, you probably have to up that protein intake in the easiest way, rather than eating like heavy calorie dense foods. Probably just have a shake. But yeah, nothing wrong with the protein shake really.
So what I think everyone's probably wondering is what you would eat like for a regular meal. Like what would you have? Where would you get that protein, and where would you get those nutrients from in your meal? So what meals would you have on maybe a day-to-day basis kind of thing?
Same as you.
Not quite.
Well, for breakfast, I am a lover of porridge. So I would have oats with plant-based milk, normally soy milk at the moment. That's my new favourite. Which soy milk is actually quite high in protein as well, per 100 mils. I don't know the exact figures, but I think it's quite good for the soybeans. And obviously oats as well, they've got protein in them. And then I have berries and chia seeds. So there I'm getting the chia seeds, which are the fats. I sometimes have peanut butter, which also again is bringing in the fats. So I've got the carbs, the fats, and the proteins all in that one meal, which is all of my macros. So that's pretty like a sturdy breakfast that I have. A good like 400, 500 calories for that breakfast, and obviously a coffee with my soy milk frothed, thank you. And then afternoon kind of time, it really changes. If we're out, I might have like sushi from Morrison's, but if we're at home, I sometimes make like vegan soups, or we can have, I mean, I'm trying to think on the spot here, but what do we have? What did I have today? Today we just had toast, but that's not a right example.
Like a pita with a vegan meat alternative, and veg. Yeah,
and then for example, so like there you're getting like the carbs, the protein. We try and have like I either have like tofu or beans, or I have a meat-free alternative in every meal, so that I'm getting that protein in there. And then obviously I have at least like 3 or 4 veg in most of our meals. Our regulars are courgette, mushroom, and onions. And then for dinner, last night, for example, I had spaghetti bolognese. So I had vegan mince. Sometimes I swap the mince for kidney beans, and then I have chopped tomatoes, all the herbs and spices in the Italian dish, the oregano, basil, and then the spaghetti, obviously, and a bit of garlic, a bit of onion, sometimes a bit of mushroom as well, the nice portobello mushrooms. But yeah, so that's kind of where, like, it's very, very normal, very normal meals, really. Well, that's normal to me. But yeah, just kind of, I try and make sure in every meal I've got a carb, a protein, and a fat, nice and balanced, and just, kind of just everything in moderation, really.
It's definitely been easier to, like, obviously talking about like kind of veg and the carbs and that, but like it's kind of like not relating to this, but it's kind of like it's been a lot easier to shop here.
Yeah.
So much easier to shop here in the UK than in Australia. Like, I don't know if it's just gotten a lot better over the last couple of years, or Australia's just a little bit behind being down under. But like, I'm not sure, but it's definitely a lot easier, say, for somebody who, like, I'm not very knowledgeable about where things come from, basically. So, like, I never would have read the back of a packet and said gelatin is, I can't have gelatin if I'm vegan, kind of thing. Like, I never would have known that or thought of that. So for them to label it in the UK as well as they do, I think it's a lot easier to shop in the UK.
More encouraging for non-vegan eaters as well, or, you know, parents that are buying for their children that want to be vegan, or people that aren't educated in what is veganism. but it makes it a lot easier for them to buy for somebody, like whether it's their friend, their partner, their family, something like that.
Yeah, definitely.
They would know what to pick up in the supermarket, because otherwise people just wouldn't know.
Yeah.
And I love like there's like chains out there as well that are now bringing in like vegan ranges of stuff. So like Sainsbury's has their own vegan range, like Plant Pioneers. Tesco has their own vegan range, like their own brand supermarket stuff. So it's at not too high a value as well. So you're not always relying on paying the high prices for corn, for example, or Linda McCartney's, even though we do love them too on the off chance. But yeah, it is good that supermarkets are now bringing in their full own ranges. And coming up to Christmas, there is a full catalogue in Sainsbury's, and there's so many yummy Christmas vegan options this year.
Yeah.
Gotta get my hands on them, like the vegan pigs in blankets, little sausages wrapped in bacon.
Yeah, we tried to actually make those the other day with
they were
I can't
really
remember
good.
what type of
they were
chorizo sausages,
but vegan chorizo, obviously.
Yeah, and we got the vegan ham or bacon and wrapped it around it, and then it actually worked out quite nicely.
And we glazed it in
maple syrup.
Oh, did you do maple syrup? You didn't do the
I did maple
agave
syrup on mine. No, I did maple syrup on mine.
Yeah. But yeah, so there's so much out there. It makes it super easy. And the same, even eating out as well. Like we have our favourite restaurants. We love Wagamama's. Wagamama's Vegatsu curry hits different. That is amazing. Especially eating in the restaurant, which we can't do at the moment. But it is a lot, like, it's so easy. There's like full vegan menus at nearly most of the restaurants, to be honest.
Yeah, and actually they've been pretty good with like asking as well, do you have any dietary requirements? And
then they ask you,
then you say, I'm vegan, and they're like, all right, I'll grab you the menu, like the vegan menu. Like a lot of them actually do say that, which is quite surprising.
But yeah, I would say my favorite vegan supermarkets, like the supermarkets that are really offering great products out there. One would definitely be Morrison's, especially for their cheese range. So their own brand cheese range, they have like so many options, which is pretty much what we have our fridge stock full. My little cheese addiction. And also Aldi is actually really, really good. So Aldi has a lot of like random things down the middle aisles. If you're from the UK, you know what Aldi's like, but it has like the random miscellaneous items, just like you don't know what you're going to find there. But it has some great little vegan finds down there, and all of their wines, are labelled vegan if they are vegan. So they have they have a red wine in there called Toro Loco.
We know how much you like that one.
Which is super affordable. It's literally less than £5 and it is lovely. Had that last night with my spaghetti bolognese. But yeah, so those are probably my two favourite supermarkets, to be fair. Sainsbury's is a good one. It's a little bit more pricey range, but for the odd little bits and pieces, like for Christmas dinner, we might get our vegan Wellington from there, or our chipolata sausages, and there's some little things that you can get from Sainsbury's that you can't get from Morrison's or Aldi. But UK supermarkets are really coming through this year. Yeah, definitely. So yeah, we pretty much would say that it's a lot better in the UK than it is in Australia, but might just be as time's gone on. In
regards to being vegan, not the weather.
Well, definitely not the weather. We're getting onto that now, because that's classic British podcast talk, isn't it? When you got onto the weather, there's a problem.
Well, you're making them think you hate Australia. You don't hate Australia.
I love Australia. The weather's beautiful.
Just found it awkward shopping.
Yeah. But, I would say some little favourite things that we regularly buy on our shopping list. So some of my favourite milks, I love soy milk at the moment, but I do go through phases of liking almond milk, especially the Alpro ranges. And the soy milk I have at the moment is actually just Sainsbury's own, super cheap. It's like 85p. And also the good thing about vegan milk is it doesn't go off nearly as fast.
Yeah,
so it's like in a carton, you can just pop it in the cupboard and it's super easy. Like I stock up the cupboard full. It looks like I'm like crazy because I've got like 10 milks in our cupboard.
Yeah, but you do like find yourself throwing out milk, like normal milk, quite often.
Milk.
Like I remember we used to always have to throw it out back home, and it's like,
so there's not as much food waste in that sense. Sometimes I just forget to eat veg. I need to get better at making sure I don't buy too much veg in and then not using it all in time before it goes off. We only have a small fridge as well, so there's not enough space for all. But yeah, so I think some of my favourite milks are soy, almond. Hazelnut is nice, but it's a little bit sweet for certain things. Like if you're having like a coffee, sometimes you don't want that little sweet edge.
It's a little bit of a kick. I would say coconut's my favourite.
Yeah, you like your
milk.
coconut, don't you?
Yeah.
You also have that with your...
You can have that with protein shakes as well. It's quite nice. So
yeah, adds a little bit more sweetness. You have the sweetened coconut milk though by Alpro, not the unsweetened.
Yeah.
Get it right, because you know there's a big difference. And chocolate wise, we actually both like Bourneville.
Bourneville's good, but we've kind of stopped buying it recently, but we do really like it. But it's just
good for baking though, really good for baking.
Yeah,
if you buy a big block.
If you want to melt it, yeah, it's quite nice to melt over.
Amazing. Who would have known? You melt, this is like a revelation for you. You get a glass bowl, put that on top of a pot, boil the water, put the chocolate inside the glass bowl, melts so lovely and velvety and liquidy.
Yeah, it's so nice.
It literally
it's very
like
therapeutic
shiny.
to just mix it, isn't it?
Yeah, just gorgeous.
Yeah, it's good.
Do that, just dip in a few little shrubs. But yeah, so kind of our weekly kind of shopping list is staples, things like mock meats or tofu or chickpeas, beans, pulses. I love butter beans actually, haven't had them in a while. And then we just, we always get our staples for our veg. So it's the broccoli, the courgette, the onion, the mushroom, carrots sometimes, so I can have carrots and hummus as a snack. And then we have been occasionally getting like the smoky ham, which is Quorn's ham slices, because they're pretty easy for a snack.
You can do a bit with it, yeah.
And then just, any kind of carbs we stocked up, but that's just the same as everybody.
Yeah.
You know, just the cupboard essentials, you know, things like wraps or
wraps.
Rice noodles. I love vermicelli rice noodles because obviously I can't eat egg noodles. So things like that, or wheat noodles. You get the wheat noodles and they're kind of like pasta. They're kind of like spaghetti, but a lower calorie option.
Really nice. But then we get pittas, wraps, bread.
Bagels
sometimes. Yeah. So those
like loads of the bagel ranges are not got any milk in them. They're completely vegan. Like the New York Bagel Company, those bagels are vegan. So yeah, those are kind of like our normal staples. Probably not anything out of the ordinary. Snacks wise, just the usual, isn't it? Really, like
a lot of crisps are vegan. Like generally, a lot of some have milk in them.
But yeah, so those are the kind of like weekly things that we would buy at the shop. And yeah, I think like going forward, the way for us to, you know, improve or, I mean, obviously I'm completely vegan, but there's still ways I can improve and my impact on the environment and my carbon footprint and that kind of thing. So I think like, you know, if like money wasn't a thing, then I would definitely make sure that I'm buying like more whole foods and from more like, health stores, more organic rather than just from supermarkets. And also it's actually quite difficult in the UK. This is one thing that they haven't like totally mastered is you can't buy like all of your fruit and veg loose or even everything else. Like you can't really just buy like everything without its plastic packaging. So they're not kind of at that stage yet. So a lot of our food from our food shop is in a lot of plastic packaging. So that'd be something to look into the future of trying to improve our kind of the amount of like packaging and recycling that we're doing.
We don't really buy plastic bags or anything. We use reusable bags.
And before COVID, I would reuse like coffee cups and things like that. But yeah, I think it's just little like minor things like that. Just kind of improving those side of stuff and like food composting. So we don't actually throw out, though I was trying to think, we don't really throw out that much food waste.
No. We pretty much eat
everything.
We'll eat what's got. Occasionally we might forget about certain things in the fridge or like just not want to cook that and then it kind of needs to be thrown out, but it's very rare. No,
I think we're quite good at
making sure we eat every last bit.
I saw somebody the other day that grated the head of the broccoli stem into their pasta. Interesting. Is that a normal thing? I don't know. Do people throw away their broccoli stem or do they also use that?
I don't know.
Do let me know.
Never thought of it, to be honest.
But yeah, so there is obviously little minor things that we could also do to improve our environmental impact. But yeah, on the whole, you know, just doing our bit. And I mean, it's just the food that I enjoy. And every day is different. Like, as I said, that's why I eat on like the odd day, but every day is totally different. Like some days I'll have peanut butter and jam on toast. Like it's not always going to be the same, but I always kind of know what kind of things I need to eat to make sure I'm getting enough protein or enough carbs. And it's also just like how I feel. It's not necessarily about what food I'm having. Like it's just about, am I hungry? Like what kind of food do I want right now? You know, just like eating intuitively.
Yeah, like mentally as well. You don't want to be like, you don't want to turn yourself off of being vegan because you're cutting so much out. You still eat what you want when you want it. It's just yeah,
it's just like knowing what foods I want and just like eating in moderation and just like eating like intuitively. And when sometimes I want a bit more food one day and some days I want a little bit less, and kind of just figuring out where, like a little balance, you know. But yeah, so that's pretty much everything. I just wanted to end this podcast today by doing a little vegan test on Tim. So I'm going to ask him 10 questions to see how he goes with this vegan test. So if you do want to test anybody at home, I'll pop it in the description box below. It's called beano.com is the website, and it's called the Ultimate Vegan Food Quiz.
What is it called?
The Ultimate... Cheeky. The Ultimate Vegan Food Quiz. So, number 1, why won't vegans eat honey? It's too sweet because it's made by bees. It's too sticky because it smells a bit weird.
Hang on, well, it's made by bees.
Okay. Next one. Which of the following types of milk products are suitable for vegans? Raw milk, oat milk, whole milk, semi-skim milk.
Are suitable?
Yeah.
Oat milk.
Could a vegan eat Doritos Chili Heat Wave tortilla chips?
Yes.
Which biscuits should vegans avoid? Oreos, milk chocolate digestives, Bourbons, Fox's party rings.
What was is it the milk chocolate digestives? Is that the one you said? The digestives? Yeah, milk chocolate digestives.
What is seitan made from? Chicken breast, hydrated gluten, minced beef, or lamb?
Say that again. So sorry, say that again.
He wasn't listening, clearly. Chicken breast, hydrated gluten, minced beef, or lamb?
I can't remember what you said because I'm thinking about the lamb, but it's not that. I know it's hydrated. What did you say?
Hydrated gluten.
Yeah, that one. I was just thinking.
Which of the following fizzy drinks is not suitable for vegans? Lilt.
What?
Lilt.
What's that?
Oh dear, this might be an issue. Is this a UK? Lilt. It's like tropically, like pineapple-y.
Oh, is it in a meal deal at Morrison's?
Oh, maybe, yeah. I think it's green. Yeah, it's green bottle with a yellow packaging or something.
Oh.
Coca-Cola, Lilt, Diet Coke, or Sprite.
Isn't suitable.
Yeah, isn't. It's not
Coca-Cola,
suitable.
Coca-Cola, Diet Coke, or Sprite.
Or Lilt.
Lilt.
What? What's your answer?
Lilt.
What is tofu made from? The first option is quite ridiculous. Toe cheese. What's toe cheese? Soybeans.
I don't know what it is, but you wouldn't want to eat it.
Soybeans, broccoli, or carrots?
Soybeans.
Can a vegan eat peanut butter?
Well, yeah, it depends on which one it is, but yeah.
Why? What would be in it that they can have?
Milk. Butter.
Failed.
Butter.
Straight up failed.
Butter.
Palm oil.
What's that?
Remember the palm oil. Which ingredient in regular mayonnaise makes it not suitable for vegans?
Egg.
I didn't even say the options. A vegan diet will help you lose weight. True or false?
False. Depends on...
Your scores are being calculated. Hold tight. Your results will be shown just after this advert. Ad break.
Surely I got 10. Come on.
I mean, that quiz was ridiculous. You scored 10 out of 10.
Yes.
Wow, if there's such a thing as a vegan genius, then you're it. Well, there you go, guys. That wraps up that lovely first episode of the podcast, SomaCoach Podcast. If you did enjoy that episode and you kind of learned something, or you just had a laugh with us and had a cuppa, then that's all good. Remember to hit that like button if you did enjoy it, and of course subscribe, because we are going to do some more episodes in this little series. And let us know any comments down below in the comments section if there is any kind of topics that you want us to discuss. It can be about sport, Tim's athletic background, my athletic background. It can be about our relationship. It can be about rescue dogs. It can be about...
As you can see one poking their head through the corner.
She's like, pick me! Me next! Talk about me for a whole hour! But yeah, thank you guys for joining. Do let me know in the comments any topics that you want us to discuss. It can be health, sport, food, fitness, anything under any of these brackets. We've got a lot to chat about, clearly. And yeah, we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.